Okay, my friends, good evening. How are you? Actually, I have received your message yesterday. We were in course of our work. In the meantime, there was some net problem. So possibly the earlier phase of nationalism, which I have just discussed with you, so possibly you could not catch up. So that's why today I will repeat the same thing. So there is no problem. मैं फिर उसको दोबारा आपको बता दूंगा. And but today I have brought some question, 5 MCQ questions. So my students, you have to be prepared for that and be fast, and so that we have to accomplish our goal within the limited time. Point number 1. Which of the following are components of the modern nation state? One, sense of togetherness among the people living in a specific geographical region. Point 2, define territory. And third, government. And you have to find out the answer. मतलब आपको ये सेंस ऑफ टुगेदरनेस अमंग द पीपल लिविंग इन ए स्पेसिफिक जोग्राफिकल रीजन इन हिंदी द मीनिंग इज कि लोगों में एक खास क्षेत्र में निवास करने वाले लोगों में एक होने का एहसास. अब स्टडी एटलीस्ट यू पीपल में रिकॉल नॉट यू कैन से द exhaustive information, but at least you may recall some initial things which I have discussed with you. On that basis you can solve this question. उसके आधार पर इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. A sense of togetherness among the people living in a specific geographical region to define territory. Third, government. Be fast, my students. C is the correct answer. You people are correct. C is the correct answer. Ankur, most of them are C? Yeah. Good. Question number 2. Which of the following factors were responsible in the growth of nationalism in India? Point 1, print media. Print media means samachar, patra, novel, upanyas, adi. Point 2, railways. Point 3, patronization to jamindars. And point 4, Western liberal ideology. Western liberal ideology. Or even you can use the term ideas. And the question ki which of the following factors were responsible in the which of the following factors were responsible in the growth of nationalism in India? Point 1, print media. Point 2, railways, patronization to jamindars, and Western liberal ideology. Be fast. Yes, correct, 100% correct. So my students, now it is a disbelief for me that yesterday we have not learned the class and you have missed the class. So I am not going to be convinced today, because at least I am not talking about the question number first. Question number first may be a bit easy, but question number 2 is definitely slightly complicated question. But as tactfully you have answered this question, I am having a serious disbelief that yesterday we have missed the class. Possibly you have assimilated the things even yesterday, or maybe today you might have downloaded the PDF study material and you might have gone through that. So very good answer. Patronization to jamindars is the wrong choice. It is simply a net for you. You may fall into the net. मतलब ये जो चॉइस नंबर सी है वो आप लोगों के लिए गलत चॉइस था. मैंने जमींदारों को संरक्षण राष्ट्रवाद के विकास में कोई रोल नहीं करता. तो प्रिंट मीडिया का रोल है, रेलवेज का रोल है, वेस्टर्न लिबरल आइडियोलॉजी. सो दैट इज द करेक्ट आंसर. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. That is from the previous chapters, not from the, you can say, current chapter. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? Pitt's India Act, Warren Hastings, Doctrine of Less Dalhousie, Vernacular Press Act, Curzon, and Ilbert Ripon. So there are the 4 total choices, and my friends, you are supposed to select the right choice, and you are you can say brilliant enough to find out the right choice. So be fast. Choice number C is the correct answer. Yes, because Vernacular Press Act was associated with Lord Lytton, not Curzon. Curzon is the wrong choice, so C is the correct choice. All the three questions you people have just taken the correct choice. Yesterday you people have committed some mistakes in the question, so I was a bit apprehensive that possibly you have been diverted from the course of the study, but today you have amply proved that no, you are serious, and I am happy with your performance. तो ये आज आप लोगों ने सिद्ध किया कि नहीं, आप लोग सीरियस हो, अपना काम ऑनेस्टली कर रहे हो, इसमें कोई शक नहीं. Question number 4. The objective of the Woods Dispatch of 1854 was, point A, to generate employment opportunities for the masses in India, to propagate Western culture in India, choice C, to promote literacy among the masses through English education, and choice D, to promote scientific research and rationalism in traditional Indian education. Be fast. C, yes. C is the correct choice. C is the correct choice. You have performed well. You have chosen the 4 out of 4 right choice. Now the last one question. Which of the following was considered as the Magna Carta of Western education in India? Which of the following was considered as the Magna Carta of Western education in India? Choice A, Public Instruction Committee. Point B, Charter Act of 1833. Choice C, Woods Dispatch of 1854. Choice D, Hunter Commission report. Be fast. Choice number C is the correct answer. Very good. Woods Dispatch, Magna Carta, you very well know the fact, in 1215, the Magna Carta was enforced in British Parliament, not British Parliament, you can say. The British King John, you will go through, I will just teach you in the world history part. Actually, there was the British King, his name was John. So, John was compelled by his own nobles and some members of the middle class to sign their memorandum of rights. So memorandum of rights was the Magna Carta. So Magna Carta is symbolizing the memorandum of rights. जॉन एक किंग था, उसको अपने ही नोबल्स ने और अपने ही मिडिल क्लास के लोगों ने, मतलब अपने ही सब्जेक्ट पीपल ने उसको जबरन एक अधिकार पत्र पर सिग्नेचर करवाया था. उसी सिग्नेचर को कहते हैं मैग्ना कार्टा. So now it emerged to be a phrase. It emerged to be a phrase, and today the phrase Magna Carta is the right. So on education, it is supposed to be the Magna Carta of Right, Woods Dispatch of 1854. Correct choice. You have done well. 5 out of the 5. Yes, Mr. Anku, I am right. Most of them have chosen the right choice. Yes. Okay, that's good. Now I am coming to the point. Yesterday we have started there, you know, that is nationalism. What does nationalism imply? Okay, and you might have downloaded the PDF, and today you may have gone through it, so I have to make this point clear. Just once again, my students, I am just, you can say, nationalism once again, I am repeating that. Phenomena of nationalism. Nationalism implies a sense of belonging to each other in a particular community. Community. Actually, in a particular community, the people living in a particular community when develop a sense of belonging to each other, so that is known as nationalism. This is the literal meaning of nationalism. मतलब किसी भी समुदाय के लोगों में जब एक दूसरे से जुड़े होने की भावना पैदा होती है, उसे हम राष्ट्रवाद कहते हैं. That is a literal meaning. अगर कोई आपसे पूछे कि भाई what is nationalism, you will simply reply them कि this is a sense of belonging to each other, sense of belonging to each other among the people and residing in a particular specific region. So that is the one, and very, you can say, this is a definition in crude form. This is a definition in crude form. मतलब ये बहुत ही एक बहुत ही सिंपल सी परिभाषा है. Although I have mentioned in my study material a formal definition, what is the formal definition? कि nationalism implies, I can say, the nationalism denotes a community of the people, a community of the people who are having a sense of belonging to each other, who are just guided by the same custom and tradition, and who are the product of the same historical forces. अगर हम इसका फॉर्मल डेफिनेशन बताते हैं तो यही डेफिनेशन है कि भाई एक समुदाय के लोग जो एक खास क्षेत्र में निवास करते हैं, जो एक खास प्रकार के रीति रिवाज यानी कस्टम एंड ट्रेडिशन, खास रीति रिवाज और परंपरा से गाइडेड होते हैं और एक खास ऐतिहासिक शक्ति की उपज होते हैं. दैट इज अ क्रूड फॉर्म, दैट इज द फॉर्मल definition of nationalism. Crude form of, or you can say, the very simple sort of definition. Now here I am making you clear. Actually, yesterday I have told you one thing. Yesterday I have told you one thing. Actually, what you know as nationalism, so it is having an European context. Okay, European context. Origin in यूरोप, जिसको आप राष्ट्रवाद या राष्ट्रीय राज्य कहते हो, उसका ओरिजिन यूरोप में हुआ, मतलब पश्चिम में हुआ था. ये इंडिया का फिनोमेना है नहीं इनफैक्ट. तो हियर आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग यू. इन यूरोप व्हाट हैपेंस, सो आई एम मेकिंग यू क्लियर. First of all, I am carrying you to medieval Europe. You have to be mentally alert, my students, and whenever you find difficulty, I am here to help you. This is medieval Europe. So my students, medieval Europe, you will find that there were certain pan-Indian forces, and in order to be a nation, you are supposed to be a parochial. मतलब आपको राष्ट्र बनने के लिए थोड़ा संकीर्ण विचार रखना पड़ेगा, पैरोकियल अप्रोच रखना पड़ेगा. मतलब तुम अगर आप पूरे यूरोप के संदर्भ में सोचेगे तो राष्ट्र कैसे बनोगे? हाउ कैन यू इमर्ज टू बी ए नेशन इफ यू आर हैविंग अ पैन यूरोपियन आउटलुक? बिकॉज इन केस ऑफ द पैन यूरोपियन आउटलुक, यू बिलोंग टू होल ऑफ यूरोप, एंड इन ऑर्डर टू बी नेशनल, you are supposed to be parochial. You have to identify yourself with a particular region. For example, Britain, France, Switzerland, Spain, etc. आपको राष्ट्र बनने के लिए खास प्रकार के लैंड से अपने आप को जोड़ना पड़ेगा. Here I am giving you the concrete example. Suppose if you are a son of the son of the earth, how can be you a son of your own mother? अगर आप धरती माता के पुत्र हैं तो अपनी माता के पुत्र कैसे बनेंगे? क्योंकि आप तो पूरे के हैं. यू हैव बीन ए कलेक्टिव आइडेंटिटी. इन ऑर्डर टू एक्चुअली इफ यू आर हैविंग ए कलेक्टिव एंटिटी, in that case you cannot be a national. And here, at least in Europe, there were two forces which worked as a pan-European forces. One was feudalism What was feudalism? I have made you clear कि in fact in medieval age the position of king was going to be weaker, and this was the king, you can say, but he simply became a titular head. जो king है बस एक नाम मात्र का प्रधान है. Beneath king there was a lord or duke. Beneath duke there was another identity, and this another identity was who? This was lord or duke, and this was baron. And this was finally knight. Knight बोलते थे वॉरियर को, योद्धा को. So there was the hierarchy of the lords, and beneath the hierarchy you will find here that they were the people. Beneath the hierarchy you will come to know that there were the people, and the king was not having any direct connection with the people. Rather, you can say the king was having an indirect connectivity with the people. The king could not collect the tax directly from the people, you can say. Rather, the knight used to collect the taxes from the people, and this tax was being passed by knight to baron, and baron to duke or lord, and then lord used to give a lump sum amount to the king, and king was not collecting the regular tax. So the king could not maintain their standing army or professional bureaucracy. Rather, you can say the king was depending over the, you can say, reinforcement, the military reinforcement from the lords, and likewise the king was depending over even the bureaucracy which was supplied by the lords. So the king was completely dependent over the lords. मतलब here I have to inform you, actually king के पास अपनी सेना नहीं होती थी, अपनी नौकरशाही नहीं होती थी, और एक हायरार्की बना हुआ था. तो नाइट टैक्स देता था बैरन को, बैरन देता था just 1 minute. One hierarchy has been, it was giving to baron, and then baron was giving to lord. So the hierarchy was there, and जो lord होता था वो थोड़ा सा amount king को देता था. So king was not dependent. So the whole system was known as the feudal system, and this feudalism was spread to the different parts of Europe. Actually, it was a major hurdle behind the rise of a national entity for the fact the one feudal lord was maintaining its jagir. Jagir means land. A part of land was lying in France, a part in Britain, a part in Switzerland. In that case, the national boundary could not have been drawn. And for being a nation state, you need a geographical boundary or a cartography, a definite cartography, a definite, the territory. So it was a basic problem because it was a pan-European institution. Likewise, another pan-European institution was universal church system, which I will teach you in the part of the world history. यूनिवर्सल चर्च सिस्टम का मतलब ये हुआ कि जो चर्च होता था उसका जो हेड क्वार्टर था वो रोम में था, और इसके जो ब्रांचेस थे वो पूरे यूरोप में फैले हुए थे. मीन्स कि इट हेड क्वार्टर वाज लाइंग इन रोम, and its branches were spread to the different parts of Europe, and the branches were not subservient to the monarch in the region. Rather, the branches were subservient simply to Rome, and whenever a national monarch just tried to draw a national boundary, so the local church was making a point of objection to the monarchy. No, you cannot draw the national boundary as I am not subservient, we are not subservient to you, rather we are subservient to Rome. So you cannot disturb in our intervene in our affairs. We are independent from you. And as the state was imposing the tax, so was even the local church, like tithe was a religious tax. मतलब मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूं कि ये किंग जब एक नेशनल बाउंड्री खींचना चाहता तो लोकल चर्च ऑब्जेक्शन करता था, बोलता था कि नहीं, हम तो आपके अधीन हैं ही नहीं, हम तो रोम के अधीन हैं, तो आप कौन होते हैं हमें अपने नेशनल बाउंड्री में बांधने वाले. तो देयर वर द टू मेजर हर्डल्स, फ्यूडलिज्म एंड यूनिवर्सल चर्च सिस्टम, व्हिच वर रनिंग काउंटर टू द राइज ऑफ द मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट. बट fortunately for the king, both the institutions declined up to early modern age. मतलब अब उसके some internal and external factors were accountable behind that, but I am not going to discuss about the internal and external factors, because then we simply diverted from our topic. So in order to you can say keep you on the central idea of the topic, here I am avoiding the other causes like internal causes and external factors. Simply you have to be informed, due to some internal and external factors, there was the rise of the two institutions, that was feudalism and universal church system. मतलब कुछ आंतरिक और बाह्य कारणों से ये जो सामंतवाद है उसका पतन हुआ. And after that you will come to know there was the rise of a nation state, because the monarch, after the decline of feudalism, monarch became powerful. He started to impose the tax on the people directly. The modern taxation system started. Kings could amass vast wealth, could maintain the independent army and professional bureaucracy at his own, and then started the modern nation state. They just drawn their national boundary. Okay. तो माय स्टूडेंट्स, हियर आई हैव टू इन्फॉर्म यू, जब फ्यूडलिज्म का डिक्लाइन हुआ तो फ्यूडल लॉर्ड एक मेजर हर्डल था. तो क्या हुआ कि मोनार्क ज़्यादा पावरफुल हो गया. अब मोनार्क अपना जो राष्ट्रीय सीमा है, जो नेशनल बाउंड्री है, उसको खींचा. उसके पास अब वो फ्री हो गया लॉर्ड से, तो लोगों पर टैक्स लगाया, लोगों से डायरेक्ट टैक्स का कलेक्शन किया. उससे उसके पास रिसोर्सेस आया, उस रिसोर्सेस से उसने अपनी सेना बनाई, उससे उसने अपनी नौकरशाही स्थापित की. इस तरह से आप देखते हो कि नेशन स्टेट एक हो गया. बट हाँ, these were the hierarchy of, my students here try to understand, you are talking about the feudalism. So feudalism was a hierarchical structure. Here actually whenever I will teach you the world history, all your syllabus start from 18th century, but for the sake of your convenience I will also give focus over the medieval Europe. So there I will discuss about feudalism in details. अब यहाँ पर एक छोटे छोटे माइन्यूट डिटेल्स के फेरे में आप मत पड़िए. आप सिर्फ इतना जानिए कि जो ड्यूक ऑफ वेरन है या नाइट है वो हायरार्की है, एक के अंतर्गत दूसरा. फ्यूडलिज्म के नुआंसेस में आप जाएंगे तो पता चला कि 2 आवर्स हम लोग फ्यूडलिज्म ही डिस्कस करते रह जाएंगे. दैट इज नॉट आवर टॉपिक. So here I have to inform you that sometimes even you people have to avoid the nuances of the meaning of the word. Simply try to draw the point that feudalism was a pan-European institution and it was a hurdle behind the rise of modern nation. That is enough to satisfy you. Likewise, universal church system was also a pan-European institution which was running counter to the basic idea of nationalism or nation state. So, but fortunately for the king and due to some internal and external factors, both the institutions disintegrated and it paved the way for the rise of the modern nation state. तो मैं आप लोगों को सजेस्ट करूंगा कि अब ज्यादा नुआंसेस से मत जाइए. ड्यूक कौन है, बैरन कौन है, नाइट कैसे वर्क करता है या ड्यूक कैसे, तो उसमें आपको भटकाव हो जाएगा. देखिए, एक स्मार्ट स्टडी के लिए कभी भटकाव को रोकना भी जरूरी है. यू हैव टू वेट फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी. व्हेनेवर आई विल टीच यू, वेट, जस्ट वेट एंड सी. After finishing modern, I will start world history part first, and then in course of teaching you the world history part, I will make you crystal clear. Crystal clear का मतलब बिल्कुल स्पष्ट कर दूंगा कि what is feudalism, what is the universal church system, how church system decline. मैंने ये दोनों इतनी इमेटेरियल चीज है कि मैंने आपको स्टडी मटेरियल में भी नहीं दिया है. इनमें थोड़ा मैंने I was tempted to actually I am tempted to clarify your vision slightly in better way. That's why I have given you the example. So please be contented with the term and don't try to find out what is duke, what is baron, what is knight. So yeah, homogeneity सिद्धांत, the Hindi meaning is एकरूपता. Suppose uniformity, although uniformity is not a proper synonym word for homogeneity, but homogeneity means ki some sort of uniformity. In Hindi, you can say ekroopta. Yes, Protestant and Martin Luther, but Abhishek, please avoid Martin Luther here. Otherwise, आए थे हरिभजन को उठन लगे कपास. अभी नेशनलिज्म को समझो, भटक जाओगे. Actually, whenever I will teach world history, then I will make you what is Protestant, what is Roman Catholic. So please avoid. मैं जहाँ रोक दूँ, मुझ पर भरोसा करके आप रुक जाओ. And whatever information is required for you, please believe in me. I will just try to. We're dealing with modern history. I was compelled to give a reference to world history purely for the fact that I cannot clarify this concept of nationalism without the giving reference to European context. That's why I'm just telling. So my student, this is the first stage. First stage. अब here I am making clear in Europe, or rather you can say. So European nationalism. First stage. Okay. In the first stage, you will come to know. This is the point here. Okay. In the first stage, this was, monarch. An European monarch carved out a separate nation, national boundary, carved out a separate region. Just you can say, carved out a separate region. And after carving out separate region, they promoted administrative centralization, and they also encouraged the cultural and linguistic homogeneity. Homogeneity means uniformity. So what you know as the nation state, in nation state was just promoted by monarch himself. That was the monarch, and the monarch just promoted this nation state based on monarch or monarchy, you can say, and the specific emphasis was a definite territorial boundary okay, then administrative centralization, and then next one, cultural and linguistic homogeneity. Homogeneity means cultural and linguistic homogeneity means just you can say uniformity. So this was actually promoted by whom? So ambitious monarchs of Europe who carved out the national boundary. But here I have to inform you, मतलब मैं आपको बताना चाहता कि जो महत्वाकांक्षी मोनार्क था, राजतंत्र था, राजा था, उसने 3 काम किए. उसने एक निश्चित भौगोलिक सीमा खींची, फिर प्रशासनिक केंद्रीयकरण पर बल दिया और सांस्कृतिक और भाषाई एकरूपता पर बल दिया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू कैन से द इंग्लिश नेशन state could emerge on the basis of the Britain adopted English language, France French language, and you can say Spain Spanish language. So one language, one nation state. So this was the basic concept. They just tried to impose the one language on the people as the national language. So in this way you can say this was the nation state. But my student, this was the first stage I have told you. This was the nation of the monarch. This was not the nation of the people. So it was not modern nationalism. It was the time the king was making the claim, I am the state and my wish is law. For example, you will find a reference to a French monarch. His name was Louis XIV. He used to make a very hyperbolic claim कि I am the state. मतलब जो लुई 14वां था वो बड़ी बड़ी बातें करता था कि मैं ही राज्य हूं और मेरा इच्छा ही कानून है. ये राजा का नेशन था, जनता का नेशन नहीं. जनता का नेशन के बाद आप देखोगे दैट इज इन सेकेंड स्टेज. in second stage. In second stage, what you know as the modern nationalism, that is called modern nationalism. So modern nationalism appeared, you will come to know modern nationalism appeared after French Revolution. After French Revolution, what happens? I am making you clear. This is government. Okay. Actually, here I have to inform you that earlier you can say this was, I am just putting both of them in parallel, then you will be more clear. In parallel, I am putting between them. This was the first stage of nationalism, first stage, I have told you, and this was the second stage. In the first stage of nationalism, you find here the king. This is the priest class. This is aristocratic class. And this was the commoners. So my student, don't get confused. I am making you here the clear. I am coming to this side to the clear. जैसे ये जो पहला स्टेज है, उस पहले स्टेज में किंग ने एक नेशनल बाउंड्री खींचकर अपने एक नेशन स्टेट बनाया, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सेंट्रलाइजेशन लाया, कल्चरल होमोजेनिटी लाया. लेकिन ये जो इंटरनली जो ये नेशन था वो डिवाइडेड था. इंटरनली डिवाइडेड ऐसे था कि अब देखो एक प्रिस्ट क्लास है, तो जो प्रिस्ट क्लास है वो दैट बिलोंग्स टू द प्रिविलेज सेक्शन, वो एक विशेषाधिकार प्राप्त वर्ग है. देन कम्स द टर्न ऑफ एरिस्टोक्रेटिक क्लास, दैट इज कॉल्ड कुलीन वर्ग. वो भी प्रिविलेज का दावा करता है, उनको टैक्स नहीं लगता, वो बड़ी फ्री है कंप्लीटली, वो दूसरे से टैक्स लेते हैं. एंड देन देयर इज द कॉमनर्स. कॉमनर्स आर जस्ट डिप्राइव्ड फ्रॉम द ऑल द बेसिक प्रिविलेजेस. दे वर द कॉमनर्स, दे वर एक्चुअली डिवाइड ऑफ ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ प्रिविलेजेस. तो मतलब इसमें भी कैटेगोराइजेशन हो गया ना, पब्लिक एक तो रहा नहीं, जो जनता है वो जनता भी विभाजित है. Here I have to inform you that king was making the claim that I am the nation, and the king himself became the symbol of the nation. But internally, the nation was divided between the privileged section and non-privileged section. So this was the limitations of the first stage of nationalism. But after the French Revolution, this is the second stage, which example I have placed here. Just observe here. This is the second stage. In second stage, what happened? Actually, after the French Revolution, there was the slogan of liberty, equality and fraternity, Swatantrata, Samanta and Bandhutva. And on 26th August 1789, there was the Declaration of Rights of Men and Citizen. मतलब 26 अगस्त 1789 को जो फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशनरीज हैं उन्होंने व्यक्ति और नागरिक अधिकारों की घोषणा की. फ्यूडलिज्म वाज एबोलिश्ड, ऑल द फ्यूडल राइट्स, the rights of the aristocratic class, the privileges of the aristocratic class, the privileges of the priest class, all were abolished and all came on the common footing. मतलब सबके विशेषाधिकार समाप्त हो गए और सभी समानता के स्तर पर आ गया. तो अब हो गया सब्जेक्ट पीपल, जो पहले सब्जेक्ट पीपल मोनार्क के हुआ करते थे, जो पहले राजा की प्रजा हुआ करती थी, दे वेर कन्वर्टेड इनटू सिटीजन. दे वेर कन्वर्टेड इनटू सिटीजन, नागरिक. So for the first time the concept of citizen or नागरिक came into existence. अगर citizen है तो there should be rule of law and there should be equality before law. There may be economic inequality which continues till today. No one has brought a solution to it, unfortunately, neither communism nor capitalism. But at least you can say in the eyes of the laws all are equal. In India you can say today what you find, whether it may be Adani or Ambani or a rickshaw puller, both are equal in the eyes of the law. So at least the equality before law, this principle was accepted after the French Revolution. So and it was the time there was the rise of the thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And Rousseau gave the concept of the general will, कि sovereignty lies in the common will and lies in the people, not on the monarch. So there emerged modern nationalism. एंड इट वॉज आफ्टर द फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन देयर इमर्ज मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म, क्योंकि रूसों ने जन संप्रभुता की अवधारणा दी और जनता और नागरिक का कॉन्सेप्ट आया, सारे विशेषाधिकार समाप्त हो गए और फ्रांस एक कोहेसिव नेशन बना. देन व्हेनेवर आई विल टीच यू वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, आई विल मेक यू क्लियर कि इट वाज द टाइम France fell in a war with other European nations. There was some reason which I cannot discuss here. So France fell into a war with the other European nations, and it was the time there was the rise of a military general. You might have heard the name Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon Bonaparte started to conquer Europe. So the idea of French nationalism spread to the different parts of Europe. So there was the spread of modern nationalism from France to the other parts of Europe, particularly in Western Europe. So in this way you can say the rise of the modern nation state in Europe. So my students, at least the basic points may be clear, because now I will come towards India. Mr. Ankur, are they okay? Are you clear, my students, now? The first stage and second stage. Modern nationalism belongs to the second stage, not the first stage. क्या आप लोग जो पहला स्टेज है और दूसरा स्टेज में जो नेशनलिज्म के नेचर में फर्क आया उसको समझ गए? प्लीज बी फास्ट. अब बढ़ने दो ना, देखो ना और सब. जस्ट ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि व्हाट देयर रिस्पॉन्स. Do they understand? Did they understand? मतलब in sum total you have to know कि in the first stage it was a nation of the monarch, and in the second stage there was the, you can say, nation of the people. That is modern nationalism. So whenever we will talk about the modern nationalism, you will just believe in the second one. Actually there you find the information. In Europe there was the rise of nationalism as the result of transformation of the feudal model into the capitalistic one. In Europe, when the feudal model was transformed into the capitalist one, so there was the rise of modern nationalism. And but condition of India is going to be different. Now I am coming to your topic, and you have to follow the, you might have gone through here, so I am just reading the paragraph to paragraph so that you may be clear. Cohesive means organized. Cohesive means cohesion का मतलब होता है चिपका हुआ. कोहेजन का मतलब होता है नहीं, एक्चुअली आई डोंट फाइंड एनी सिनोनिम फॉर दिस वर्ड प्रेजेंटली. कोहेसिव मीन्स कि लगाव, मतलब जुड़ना, जुड़ाव, मजबूती से जुड़ना. मतलब यू कैन से टू हडल टुगेदर फोर्सफुली. So that is called cohesiveness. In general, we can define nation as a community of the people who reside in a specific geographical region and share a common past and culture. In fact, factors like common traditions, culture, and geographical integration play a significant role in the growth of nationalism. The concept of nationalism first emerged in Western Europe. It evolved during the course of transformation of feudal system into capitalist system in Europe. But this point is important, which I have just elaborated this point. Actually, in Europe, when there was the decline of feudalism and rise of capitalism, so there was the rise of nation state in Europe as the result of this transformation. However, nationalism in India evolved through a different process. It can be understood in the following way. भारत में जो नेशनलिज्म है उसके इमरजेंस का एक दूसरा तरीका है. बट आई विल डिस्कस अबाउट both the, you can say, earlier phase of proto-nationalism in India was expressed in the form of reaction against the British colonial exploitation. I will discuss with you. And the second phase of or modern nationalism manifested itself as a consequence. But here I have to make this point of clear firstly. So now I am returning to India first, you know. Just here I am making clear. Rise of nationalism in India. As I have discussed in Europe, so even in India in two stages. First stage, reaction against British colonial exploitation. First stage, reaction against the British colonial exploitation. Matlab here I have to inform you, in fact, when the British established its colonial government in India, so you come to know that they followed the land revenue policy, the agrarian policy, the you can say trade policy, the industrial policy. So all resulted into impoverishment of the different classes of the people. The burden on different classes like peasants, tribes, the commoners, etc. And it resulted into the mass poverty, famine, you can say hunger, and various sorts of problem like, rural indebtedness, etc. So when the burden of colonialism became unbearable, so people reacted it. I will discuss about tribal movement. Possibly you people may have gone through it. So of tribes, you can see whether Birsa Munda, while taking axe and bows and arrows in the hand, they just rushed towards the British and they attacked on the British with the slogan Katung Baba Katung, Radi Katung and Saheb Katung. मतलब हमने कहा कि उन लोगों ने जो गलत मतलब जो आर्थिक शोषण किया, उस आर्थिक शोषण ने भारत के बहुत सारे लोगों पर दुष्प्रभाव पैदा किया, मतलब गलत प्रभाव पैदा किया, जिसके कारण गरीबी बढ़ी, अकाल हुआ, भूखमरी हुई, शोषण हुआ। तो बहुत सारे किसान थे, जनजातीय थे, कॉमनर्स थे, उस समय पर विद्रोह खड़ा किया और ब्रिटिश पर अटैक किया। तो उनका जो पहला रिएक्शन है दैट इज नॉट नेशनलिस्टिक, प्रोटो नेशनलिस्टिक, because it was not enjoying the support of modern ideas. So अब what difference lay here in the Western model of nationalism and in a rise of nationalism in a colony like India or in any other colony? So one point of difference is that there was the rise of nationalism as the result of transformation of feudalism into capitalism or feudalistic model into capitalistic model. मतलब सामंतवाद का पूंजीवाद में रूपांतरण से वहां पर राष्ट्रवाद आया. In our country, the first stage emerged as the result of the reaction, the Indian reaction or reaction of different classes of India, different social classes against the British colonial exploitation. ब्रिटिश ने जो हमारा आर्थिक शोषण किया उसके अगेंस्ट में प्रतिक्रिया में जो नेशनलिज्म आया, उसके लिए हम इसके लिए दैट इज कॉल्ड that is characterized as proto nationalism. That is characterized as proto nationalism. Up in Hindi, if you some English students from English side, if you just eager to know, I just want to हिंदी में आपको और समझ में नहीं आएगी, प्रोटो नेशनलिज्म ही याद होगा. हिंदी में उसको कहते हैं आद्य राष्ट्रवादी, half nationalism in one sense. So that is characterized as proto nationalist. Then comes the second stage. In second stage, it is true nationalism. That is called modern nationalism, as in Europe. So modern nationalism. That is pro English education, through English education, a group of Indians came in touch with Western ideas. मतलब here you are informed that actually as a result of the English education, they gained the English education. So after the knowledge of English education, in fact, they came in touch with a group of Indians at least came in touch with the Western ideas. So it is through Western ideas they came in touch with the masterminds of the world at that time. The European thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, you can say American thinkers like Thomas Paine, then you can say the Montesquieu, the French thinker. So they were widely impressed with the Western ideas and the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity. So it worked as a catalyst behind the rise of modern nationalism in India. मतलब जब वो अंग्रेजी शिक्षा के माध्यम से कुछ पश्चिमी विचारधारा के संपर्क में आए और पश्चिमी विद्वानों को पढ़ा, तब जाकर राइज ऑफ मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म हुआ. तो फर्स्ट स्टेज प्रोटो नेशनलिज्म का है एंड द सेकेंड स्टेज मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म का है. तो इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर और नॉट मिस्टर अंकुर? Just ask my students. My students, please give some hints so that I have to move further. Be fast and be responsive. Whenever I am asking you something, so please you people have to make a positive response and fastly so that I will be familiar with the fact you are clear. Or you find difficulty, I will repeat it, no problem at all. Okay, thank you. Then I am moving further. My students, here I have to make you clear that I am talking about for time being, I am just, you can say, dropping the idea of proto-nationalism for time being. And for time being, I am going to discuss simply about modern nationalism. So here I have to inform you that actually this one, because actually modern nationalism came later in the end of 19th century. But Priyanshu, actually modern nationalism came in the end of 19th century when the socio-religious reforms movement started. Then you will come to know that there was the rise of modern nationalism as the result of actually reflection of modern nationalism in India is the socio-religious reforms movement of 19th century. You might have heard about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Swami Vivekanand, and Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, Mahadev Govind Ranade. So they were reflecting the Western ideas, or assimilation between the Oriental ideas and Western ideas. But what about the revolt of Santhals? What about the revolt of Mundas? What about the revolt of, you know, Sannyasis and you can say Mopla revolts? So they were not nationalistic. We are using the term proto-nationalistic for the fact that initial resistance against the British rule, came from the so-called illiterate people and the, you can say, uncivilized mass and the tribals and the peasants who were not educated. So they were exploited, so they reacted. So in order to actually, what you know, nationalism means ki in a colonial setup, the reflection of nationalism is always against colonialism. If you are using the term proto-nationalistic, so in savage manner, in aggressive manner, and you are calling in the modern nationalism, so through liberal manner and through the with the support of the modern ideas, and they adopted the modern politics, with the support of modern ideas, the modern politics. So Priyanshu, this is the reason कि आखिर इस राष्ट्रवाद के जो विरुद्ध जो कोई भी उपनिवेश में जो पहली प्रतिक्रिया हुई, वो तो देखो, अब कोई उपनिवेश है वो आते हैं शोषण करने के लिए, एक्सप्लॉइट करने के लिए. तो पहला तो रिएक्शन, चाहे वो पीपुल शिक्षित हों अशिक्षित हों कोई भी हो, विशेषकर अशिक्षित लोग जो उनकी शासन से पीड़ित हो रहे हैं, तो उनका पहला रिएक्शन क्या होगा, हम उनसे लड़ें। तो लेकिन उनके पास एक विजन नहीं है, वो उपनिवेशवाद को नहीं समझ रहे, कॉलोनियलिज्म को नहीं समझ पा रहे, उनके एक्सप्लॉयटेशन को नहीं समझ पा रहे, वो सिर्फ रेजिस्ट कर रहे हैं। उसके लिए उसको हम प्रोटो नेशनलिस्ट कहते हैं। और जब उस नुआंसेस को, जब कॉम्प्लिकेशंस को समझने लगेंगे, जब उनको लिबर्टी, इक्वलिटी, फ्रैटर्निटी जैसे जो लॉफ्टी आइडियाज है उनका ज्ञान होगा, तब हम मॉडर्न नेशनलिज्म बोलेंगे। यही फर्क है। Pramod, what is theme of nationalism? I don't know what you just want to ask. Theme of nationalism, what is the central, what I have just briefed, so that is the theme of nationalism. What do you mean by theme of nationalism? If someone is going to theme of nationalism, so just reply ki a sense of belonging to each other. That is nationalism, theme of nationalism. What can be the other theme of nationalism? Pramod. Through English education, Nidhi, you have already made a study of the colonial part, and in colonial part I have made you clear actually a group of Indians came in touch with when the Lord Macaulay introduced the Macaulay education system. So obviously you can say a group of Indians came in touch with the English education, and English was full of the so-called liberal and nationalistic ideas. So whosoever is making the study of English education, so they came in touch with the nationalism as well, modern nationalism as well. I'll discuss later. Just 1 minute. Who has just asked this question? Nikhil. Nikhil, I will reply your question very soon. Please wait. Abhishek. Abhishek, here I have to inform one thing. You, my students, please try to understand one specific point. Actually, you are making a study of a social science. In social science, the specialty of social science, and social science is different from natural science in the sense that in natural science, there is normally, you can say, one established view. For example, you can say in physics, chemistry, mathematics, there is the one established view. But whenever you are just making a study of social science, in social science, there is the different perspective for the study of a single thing. So basic problem is that अब you are just taking one perspective, तो second perspective it is not all inclusive. अब interest group की बात ये जो imperialist historians हैं, जो British historians हैं, वो कर रहे हैं. तो अब what is nationalism, इस पर तो अब 100 scholars ने 100 बातें कही है, तो आपको उसको इग्नोर कर देना है. I will come to this point also. I will come to this point, and I will ask the same question to you people, and you people are supposed to reply my question. Vikas, I will come to this question, Vikas, and you people will reply my question first, then I will respond. First stage, Anjali, first stage? No. First stage is not for independence. In first stage, the Santhal revolt, the you can say tribal revolts and peasant revolts, they were the simply an outburst against the grievances without any planning, any scheme. And so far as the question of independence is concerned, it is a very remote phenomena at that time. Even in modern nationalism, the independence came much later. Even in modern nationalism, you can say independence is a very remote phenomena. So not to speak of independence. In the first stage, a natural, you can say, reaction and natural outburst against the grievances and the persecution and the, you can say, pains they were the pains which were inflicted on them by the colonial government. मतलब पहला स्टेज में ये था कि उनको एक्चुअली कोई, अब मान लो तुमको कोई एक तमाचा मारता है तो चोट लगती है, तिलमिलाहट होती है, तो तुम उस पर बिना सोचे समझे, बिना कोई प्लानिंग के तुम उस पर अटैक कर देते। तो कोई उसमें सुनियोजित योजना नहीं थी फर्स्ट स्टेज में। इट वॉज सिंपली एन आउटब्रस्ट। दिस वॉज द केस। Would I go further, Mr. Ankur? My students, here my point is 2 and 3 things I have to discuss with you people. One thing is कि so far the question of modern nationalism is concerned, so I have told you कि initially the nationalism was an European phenomena, and it was an European phenomena, and whenever you will just observe Europe, you will find that European nation was, particularly in Western Europe, so its size was the very limited. It was having a very limited geographical size, and geographically it was not, you can say, too much extended if you will compare them with India. You will just compare Europe with India, you will come to realize if you are going to deduct the Russian region from Europe, so Europe would be just equal to India in geographical space. So in that case you can say, अब यूरोप में से अगर रशिया के पार्ट को निकाल दो तो इंडिया के बराबर होगा। तो यूरोपियन जो नेशन थे वो छोटे छोटे थे, उनका आकार छोटा था, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, you will just come to realize, मतलब whenever you will sometime move to Europe, because today you know कि except Britain, you know, on the basis of the Schengen agreement, you will through a single visa you can move to the different parts of Europe today, except Britain. So you are going through the highways, you will realize there कि for example on Indian highways, you are moving on the highways, so somewhere you will find a board कि Haryana welcomes you, UP welcomes you, because after some kilometers, 60 kilometers, 100 kilometers, you will find some other states, you are encroaching the boundary of other state in India. The same happens in case of Europe. You will find the same experience whenever you are just moving on the European highways at that presently. तो मतलब यूरोप का आकार बहुत छोटा है, और उसका सबसे, सॉरी, यूरोप का, यूरोपियन कंट्रीज का, एंड एक्सेप्ट सर्टेन कंट्रीज लाइक जर्मनी एंड सम अदर कंट्री in Britain and other countries, France, Belgium, Holland, they are the very tiny in size, you know. And apart from that, one important thing is there you will find the more cultural and linguistic homogeneity. But in case of India, India was in giant size. It was having a continental size, although it is a subcontinent, but it is having a continental size. वैसे तो ये उपमहाद्वीप है, परंतु इसका आकार महाद्वीपीय है। And even except that, whenever I will teach you the cultural part and ancient and medieval history, I will make you clear that the cultural diversity is the important feature of India. India is having a very strong feature of cultural diversity. So as India is having a cultural diversity and it is, you can say, giant in size, so on the parameters of European nation, India does not qualify. So that's why you can say that for the first time you will inform that there is, in 1880s, there was a British officer. His name was John Strachey. His name was John Strachey, and John Strachey, he was the British officer in India, and after taking retirement, he moved to London. And after moving London, he went to Cambridge University, and in Cambridge University, he delivered a lecture on India. And later his lecture was compiled into a text that was known as India. The name of the text was India. मतलब जॉन स्ट्रेची एक ऑफिसर था, ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर, यहाँ से रिटायर होकर लंदन गया, कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी में उसने एक लेक्चर दिया, और उसका जो लेक्चर वो इंडिया के नाम से प्रकाशित हुआ। तो इन दिस लेक्चर ही क्लैरिफाइड हिज पोजीशन। ही टोल्ड कि इंडिया इज नॉट अ नेशन, इंडिया इज नॉट नाइदर अ नेशन nor it be a nation. It is neither a nation nor it can be, as it is having its you can say pluralistic character, मतलब इसका है वो हेट्रोजेनियस है, ये होमोजेनियस नहीं है यूरोप की तरह. एंड इट वाज having the various languages, linguistic groups, the various regions, various caste, various creed, various religious groups like communities, races. So India is having the multiplicity of language, race, community, religion, etc. So it can never be a nation. It is just like a continent like Europe, या Europe like a continent है. And in India you will find the more difference between the Bengalis and Marathis, then you find a Swiss or a German in Europe. मैंने उसका कहना था कि आप जर्मनी में एक स्विस और एक जर्मन में जितना अलगाव, जितनी असमानता पाओगे, उससे ज्यादा आप यहाँ मराठी और बंगाली में पाओगे. इसलिए इंडिया नेशन नहीं हो सकता. एंड हियर आई हैव टू इन्फॉर्म यू, even there is a British scholar, his name was Rudyard Kipling, he also holds the same view. So my students, India could not qualify on the parameters of the nation. On the other hand, if you will go through my study material, you will find here the second view was given by, the first view was that India can never be a nation. The second view is that a Western scholar Benedict Anderson, actually that is he has not written in the, you can say directly on India, but we have deduced what is the view of Benedict Anderson. So here I have to inform you, the Benedict Anderson is a Western thinker. Don't get disheartened, I am making you crystal clear. He coined a term, imagined community. Imagined community. Imagined community. अब इसका हिंदी में क्या मीनिंग हो गया कांट से. जैसे बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन है, वो एक स्कॉलर है, तो वेस्टर्न स्कॉलर है, उसने एक टर्म को क्वाइन किया, उस टर्म को कहते हैं इमेजिन्ड कम्युनिटी. उसमें बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन जस्ट ट्राई टू एस्टेब्लिश दैट व्हाट यू नो एज द नेशन. So nation does not exist organically, but nation is just imagined in the mind of the people. When a nation is just an, you can say, created entity. It is not a natural entity. Okay? So it is having a created entity. It is not a national it is not a natural entity. मतलब इसका कहना यह था कि नेशन होता नहीं है, नेशन सोचा जाता है, बनाया जाता है, पैदा हो जाता है. लोगों की सोच में नेशन आता है, नेशन क्रिएट किया जाता है. कैन यू इमेजिन दैट वी आर जस्ट द डिफरेंट नेशंस इन्वेंटेड नेशनल फ्लैग, द यू कैन से द नेशनल सॉन्ग, द नेशनल एंथम. व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव? ऑब्जेक्टिव कि बार बार तुम सुनोगे तो तुम्हारे मन में एक एहसास होगा हम एक हैं. तो हम एक हैं कि भावना पैदा की जाती है, होता नहीं है. इसलिए मॉडर्न इंपोर्ट है नेशन. ये नेशन मॉडर्न इंपोर्ट है क्योंकि ये पैदा की जाती है. इट इज क्रिएटेड, इट इज नॉट नेचुरल. ये बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन का कहना है. कैसे? ही हैज just imagine ki through whom, what are the sources? Sources is a natural, a definite कार्टोग्राफी. कार्टोग्राफी का मतलब होता है मानचित्र. मानचित्र ज्योग्राफी में जिसको बोलते हो, मतलब एक नेशनल, निश्चित नेशनल बाउंड्री की परिकल्पना की ये हमारा है, पंजाब, सिंध, बंगाल, मराठा, द्रविड़, उत्कल, बंगाल. हालांकि अब दूसरी बात है कि सिंध निकल गई, पंजाब का भी आधा पार्ट निकल गया, बट स्टिल इट इज फॉर्मिंग द पार्ट ऑफ आवर नेशनल एंथम. तो इट इज हैविंग अ डेफिनेट कार्टोग्राफी. इसका एक निश्चित भौगोलिक इकाई होती है। देन द पॉइंट नंबर 2, सेंसस। सेंसस यू माइट हैव हर्ड इन हिंदी जनगणना। Enumeration of the people, enumeration of the people in a country. Suppose you can say कि मोदी जी इज मेकिंग द स्टेटमेंट कि व्हेन वी 125 करोड़ भारतीय चाह लेंगे ऐसा होगा, तो ऐसा होकर रहेगा। मतलब इज मेकिंग द स्टेटमेंट दैट कि 125 करोड़ इंडियंस इफ जस्ट प्रेफर इट, सो दैट विल हैपन। तो वो इस तरह का स्टेटमेंट देते हैं। और today, now he has increased the number even up to 1 arab and 140 crore. Now he has started to use that term. तो अब मुद्दा यह है कि अगर हम लोग जैसे सेंसस है, तो सेंसस हमारा इन्यूमरेशन करता है और हमारी संख्या बताता है, नंबर्स को बताता है। तो whenever through census you will come to know our number is 140 crore, 140 crore. You will come to think that at least I am one out of the 140 crore. मैं भी उन 140 करोड़ लोगों में एक हूं। So this is going to create a sense of belonging to each other. So he told that कि census is working as the major criteria. Then third one you will come to know, print media. Print media means papers and journals and novels. For example, Anand Math of Bankim Chand Chatterjee. So it has created a sense. So in this way, we can say he has used the term. And one more, point for modern transport and communication. Modern transport and communication. Communication. So actually, this Benedict Anderson tried to prove that whenever you develop the modern transport and communication, so it is going to reduce the geographical distance from one region to other. So there is better communication between the people living in the different parts of a single one region, different parts of the single one country. So actually the exchange of ideas among the different groups of the people is giving birth to the idea of or a sense of belonging to each other. So that creates a nation. तो कुल मिलाकर बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन कहता है कि देखो, नेशन होता नहीं है, नेशन बनता है, और नेशन को बनाने में इन कारकों की भूमिका होती है। मतलब बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन ट्राइड टू एस्टैब्लिश दैट कि नेशन इज नॉट एग्जिस्टिंग इन नेचुरल फॉर्म, बट रैदर द नेशन इज क्रिएटेड एंड फॉलोइंग फैक्टर्स plays a very important role in the creation of a nation. So he just tried to establish that the following factors plays the important role. Now I am coming to another point. I am just coming to another point here, Benedict Anderson has earmarked the points. So according to the first view, I have just given a reference to John Strachey. He completely denied the possibility of nation in India. But the second view, what so it tried to establish that if India could emerge to be a nation, the British worked as a true architect. According to the second view, अगर भारत राष्ट्र बन सका तो ब्रिटिश ने उसे बनाया। मतलब पहला विचार कहता है ना इंडिया राष्ट्र है और ना हो सकता है, दूसरा विचार कहता है कि अगर भारत राष्ट्र बन सका तो ब्रिटिश ने बनाया। ओके, मतलब द सेकेंड व्यू ट्राई टू एस्टेब्लिश दैट इफ इंडिया कुड बी क्रिएटेड एज ए नेशन, तो हियर द ब्रिटिश इज द चीफ आर्किटेक्ट and it is due to the British initiative, or you can say the British contribution, or the contribution of the British, India could emerge to be a nation. So my students, it is here even in your study material, the points have been mentioned. Point 1, due to English education. You will go through this paragraph. Through English education, a group of Indians came in touch with the mastermind of the time, the West European scholars, who promoted the idea of liberalism and nationalism in their among them. एंड मतलब कि भारतीयों का एक वर्ग पश्चिमी शिक्षा के संपर्क में आया और पश्चिमी विचारकों से प्रभावित हुआ। सेकेंड, ऑन मॉडर्न ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड कम्युनिकेशन लाइन्स, विल मेंशन अबाउट द रेलवे एंड टेलीग्राफ which reduce the geographical distance among the different regions and could work as a medium of exchange of ideas among the people living in the different regions. उनका कहना है कि भाई ये लोगों के अलग अलग क्षेत्र में लोगों रहने वाले लोगों के बीच संपर्क सूत्र जुड़ सका. And third one point is print media. I have mentioned you that is newspapers, journals, novels. So through the genre of literature, you can say there was the better exchange of ideas among the people. मतलब लोगों में विचारों का आदान प्रदान हुआ. Then population census, मतलब कि census में जनगणना, it created a sense of belonging to each other as pro-enumerating the total population of a region. And the fifth one, administrative unification. Administrative unification, and one thing here missing, I think. So please, at the sixth point, you can here use the term the geographical boundary of this. British early defined the geographical boundary. This is, here you can say cartography. This is, for that you can use the terms of cartography. Now I am coming to this point ki how did the British, you can say, just 1 minute, how did British help India to emerge to be a modern nation? How did British help India to emerge to be a modern nation? So British contribution, just try to observe British contribution. English education, we have already mentioned. English education, to print media, three, cartography, 4, census, and fifth, 4 census, and fifth, one point is missing, print media, modern transport and communication lines. Modern transport and communication lines. Modern transport and communication lines. My students, I am asking one thing. Ankur, please ask them one question so that I will be clear. Up to this point, are you clear, my students? Because I am going to ask you one question. Up to this point, are you clear? Please give some hint. Be fast. मतलब इस पॉइंट तक आप लोग क्लियर हैं? प्लीज आप हिंट करिए. यस, मतलब here once again I am repeating, in fact the British scholars are having the two different views about the nationalism in India. A group of British scholars denied कि no, India is neither a nation, can never be a nation. मतलब इंडिया ना तो राष्ट्र है ना हो सकता है. दूसरा ने कहा कि अगर इंडिया राष्ट्र बन सका तो ब्रिटिश के प्रयास से बन सका. ओके, और ब्रिटिश ने उसमें कंट्रीब्यूट किया है और उसने इन बातों की चर्चा की. उसमें मैंने बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन एक स्कॉलर हैं, उसने इमेजिन कम्युनिटीज लिखी है जिसने कहा है कि राष्ट्र होता नहीं है, राष्ट्र बनाया जाता है, और ब्रिटिश ने इसी आधार पर भारत को राष्ट्र बनाने का क्लेम किया. जैसे इंग्लिश एजुकेशन, प्रिंट मीडिया, कार्टोग्राफी, सेंसस. तो व्हेनेवर यू फाइंड ए क्वेश्चन कि डिड ब्रिटिश मेक ए कंट्रीब्यूशन टू मेकिंग इंडिया नेशन, तो यू विल मेंशन ओवर द 5 points. ओके, but my question to you people is now, you have to reply my question here. My question is, if British would not come to India, we cannot emerge to be a nation. अगर ब्रिटिश भारत में नहीं आए होते तो क्या हम राष्ट्र नहीं बनते? If British could not have come to India, would we not emerge to be a nation? अगर ब्रिटिश भारत में नहीं आए होते तो क्या हम राष्ट्र नहीं बनते? मेरा प्रश्न है. My student, just try to reply my question now. Be fast. You have to give the answer yes or no. Yes, you are intelligent enough to find out the actual situation. Yes, still we can be a nation even if the British could not have come to India, because we are right. Actually, this is due to the fact, the first thing, we are having some potential to be unified in future. During our ancient literature, you might in my study material find a term. There is the concept of Jambu Dvipa. Jambu Dvipa. What is Jambu Dvipa? You have not to be confused. Indian subcontinent, the geographical region of Indian subcontinent from Himalayas to ocean, the whole region was known as Jambu Dvipa. मतलब हिमालय पहाड़ से लेकर समुद्र तक के बीच का जो भूभाग है उसको प्राचीन साहित्य में जम्बू द्वीप कहा जाता था. इट वॉज कैरेक्टराइज एज जम्बू द्वीपा. ओके, एंड द सेकेंड फैक्टर वॉज राइट फ्रॉम द एंशियंट पीरियड देयर वॉज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पैट्रियोटिज्म. जैसे एक ब्रिटिश स्कॉलर हैं, उनका नाम है क्रिस्टोफर बाइली. बाकी हिस्टोरियंस तो इंडिया में नेशनलिज्म को डिनाई ही करते हैं, परंतु क्रिस्टोफर बाइली उसने एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट बात कही. उसने कहा है कि इंडिया right from the very beginning India was having some concept of patriotism, जिसको इन हिंदी में तुम देशभक्ति कहते हो. So right from the ancient period India was having a sense of patriotism, and this sense of patriotism could help India in future to be a nation. Second one. And third one factor was कि actually initial reaction against the British rule, didn't come from the westernized Indians, but come from the so-called uncivilized and the illiterate Indians like the tribals and peasants. ब्रिटिश शासन के अगेंस्ट में जो रेजिस्टेंस था वह सबसे पहले ट्राइबल्स और पीजेंट्स लोगों ने ही स्टार्ट कर दिया था. Here I have dealt with this question also, my students. I will discuss with you later. So you have taken the very right stand, even if the British. And one important thing, even during medieval period, you will go through the medieval history of India, will come to know that there was the largest cultural revolution in India, and this largest cultural revolution was what? So this largest cultural revolution was the Bhakti movement. This largest cultural revolution was the Bhakti movement. And whenever you will go through the Bhakti movement, you will come to realize that this Bhakti movement, the wind of Bhaktism, just moved from wind of bhakti just moved from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And in Kashmir, there was the one Bhakta Lal Dei. In Tamil Nadu, Madhavacharya. In Gujarat, Narsi Mehta. In Bengal, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Assam, Shankar Deva. So India was having a sense of cultural unity even during medieval period. तो अब ये क्रेडिट जो है ये हम लोग ये मानकर चलें कि ब्रिटिश ने हमें नेशन बनाया, ये इसको मानना, ब्रिटिश ने कंट्रीब्यूट किया, one thing. And second thing, you people have to be mentally alert. The British did not make us the nation. Okay, British didn't make us the nation. Rather, it was the unintended impact of the British rule. It was not the intended impact. अगर ब्रिटिश का बस चलता तो हमारे में यहाँ वो राष्ट्र नेशनलिज्म का भाव नहीं आने देता. It was an unintended impact of the British rule. ये ब्रिटिश शासन का अनचाहा परिणाम है. So don't get confused. British have made us the nation. British made a contribution to nation, but British didn't make us the nation consciously. It was the after effect of the British rule. It was the unintended impact of the British rule on India. So that should be our stand here. And one important thing I have to inform you, actually, Abhishek or someone had at that time asked me the question, actually India was a nation earlier or not? India was a nation earlier or not before the British in ancient time? Dekho, my friends, it is a very disputed topic. It is very difficult to reply this question, but I am just trying. Actually, a group of historians believe that, yes, India was having the element of nationalism even in ancient time. They are the ultra-nationalist, you can say. And the British could not have come to India, so India could emerge to be a nation through its own way, in their view. And they believe that we have not to follow the parameters of the British and the Western model. Matlab, we should not always follow the parameter or standard, Western standard. India could be nation through its own, where India is having its elements of being a nation from ancient time. एक scholars का कहना है. दूसरा scholars कहता है actually nationalism is a modern concept, and it was during modern age when we became familiar with the concept of nationalism and we come in touch with the Western ideas, and then we have been familiar with the idea of nationalism. Then we started to search the same nationalism in our ancient past. मतलब अगर हम अपने एंशियंट पास्ट में जाकर अपना नेशनलिज्म खोजने का प्रयत्न करते हैं, ये भी वेस्टर्न इम्पैक्ट है, क्योंकि हम वेस्टर्न से ही समझ सके एक होने का भाव. तो ये सेकेंड वन परसेप्शन है, वो है पहला बोलता है कि हम नेशनलिज्म एंशियंट टाइम से थे और हमारे अगर नहीं भी ब्रिटिश और हमारा नेशनलिज्म का तरीका अलग था, हम ब्रिटिश पैरामीटर्स या वेस्टर्न पैरामीटर्स को क्यों फॉलो करें. दूसरा बोलता है कि अगर हम अपने एंशियंट में जाके नेशनलिज्म खोज सके या खोज पा रहे हैं तो वो वेस्टर्न इम्पैक्ट के कारण ही खोज पा रहे हैं, इसलिए क्योंकि नेशनलिज्म एक मॉडर्न कॉन्सेप्ट है. So another group of scholars tried to establish that no, nationalism is a modern concept, and even today we are just going to search nationalism in our ancient past, so it is due to the Western influence. So this point should be clear, my students. I think you people may be clear. Today my time is over, so I am compelled to stop here. You people are requested, I am giving you some homework. This diagram you will follow, and at least you will go through the tribal and peasant movement, and if you can even go through the revolt of 1857, that is better. But suppose the size is larger, because the restorative revolts, tribal revolts and peasants revolts, so that is going to be actually a bit information based. तो information based है थोड़ा सा, तो हो सकता है आपको प्रॉब्लम हो, तो जितना आप पढ़ सकते हो उतना पढ़ लेना. I will just cover this area, restorative, tribal and peasants, and at least I will start the story of Great Revolt of 1857, but that will not be done tomorrow. So I am just stopping here, and so Ankush, I will just do the, let me in the next, from the next week, I will seriously work on the answer writing. In this week, I am having some less time, but from the next week, I will increase for some year, because actually from Monday, Monday, matlab you can say from the next 1 week, because after whatever the next, even after the Holy Week or whatever, maybe I don't know. But whenever I will just take, so I will just work on the question answer as well. So, acha, one thing. Tomorrow I am stopping here. I am not going towards the revolt of 1857. Tomorrow I will give you one example of the answer writing. So I will try the answer writing, and I will try at my best to develop your expertise in answer writing as well, because in prelims you are performing very well, and I hope even in mains you will do that. So today I am stopping here. My time is over. From 8 o'clock, the Hindi medium batch